Good evening, and welcome to the April 9, 2018 meeting of the Florissant City Council. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, please call the roll.
Pagano.
Here.
Parson. Here. Siam. Here. Lee. Here. Jones. Here. Egan. Here. Caputa.
Present.
Shildroth.
Here.
Hanky.
At this time, I'd like to take a moment of silence for a dear friend of mine and businessman of Florissant who passed away on Friday. Rick Puckett was the co-owner of Peroni's Pizzeria. He had a very big and generous heart. He endlessly gave to the community that he loved. He was always there with gift cards or pizzas if there was any event, crisis, school, church event, or any benefit that you could think of. If you asked Rick, he gave. Rick was a huge supporter of our police department and all the surrounding police departments. And he was also known as Eddie the police dog's personal chef. So I am asking that you please keep his family in your prayers, and especially his daughter who had a baby on Wednesday. And Rick was able to see a picture of her, but was not able to see her in person, and he will have his second grandbaby in June that he will not be able to see, and that is a little boy. So please keep his wife and his parents and children in your prayers. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the meeting minutes of March 26th and the executive meeting minutes of April 2nd, 2018? Seeing none, Councilman Parson moves to approve the minutes, seconded by Mr. Shildroth. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? The meeting minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda is a presentation to Officer Gary Charlotta.
Good evening.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, thank you. My name is Laura Berry, and I'm the president of Missouri Association of Code Enforcement. Every year during our conference, we do a Code Enforcement Officer of the Year. We ask for nominations throughout the state, and this year, well, actually, in August of last year, we received a nomination form for Police Officer Gary Schlottick. He has been doing code enforcement for how many years now? 18 years? Okay. I've known Gary for about 10 years, a little over 10 years now, through several boards of Missouri Association of Code Enforcement, St. Louis Association of Code Enforcement. He's served on those boards with me, and I just wanted to read this nomination. It came from Chief Lowry. Yes. And it says, I would like to nominate Florissant Police Officer Gary Schlottick as the 2017 Mace Code Enforcement Officer of the Year. Officer Schlottick has had a distinguished career in law enforcement for 38 years of service, 37 of which has been with the Florissant Police Department. Officer Schlottick has been assigned as the Florissant Police Department's Neighborhood Preservation Code Enforcement Officer for the past 17 years. During his tenure, Officer Schlottick has worked with City of Florissant's health department officers and building inspectors to correct problem properties that pop up in the neighborhoods from time to time. He is known as the go-to guy for officers who have code enforcement questions, and I know that whenever I receive a citizen complaint about a property, Officer Schlottig will work within the city's staff, with the city's staff, property owners, and tenants to come up with reasonable solution to the problem. In recent years, the Florissant Police Department has expanded the department's neighborhood preservation code enforcement unit to 3 officers. He has taken it upon himself to train the new officers on the policies that he has created to fairly solve housing problems in the city of Florissant. Officer Schlottig's passion for code enforcement makes him an excellent candidate for the 2017 Mace Code Enforcement Officer of the Year. Our board also agrees with this, and so he was presented with a certificate at our annual meeting and conference in August, but we are here today to present him with a plaque. We always make sure that we go to the recipient's council meeting and present it in front of their council, because we feel that, you know, this job isn't always a thankful job. We get a lot of complaints, and we never really get those thank yous when it's taken care of. So we just wanted to make sure that he's recognized for his efforts. And he is actually the first police officer that we've had that has received this award. So, and we've been doing it for probably about 6 or 7 years now. And like I said, he's the first police officer. It's a statewide organization. So in Missouri, he's the first police officer that's actually received this. All right.
Well, just quickly, I just want to tell you, Gary, thank you for everything you've done. I mean, it's 38 years now as you've been a member of the Florissant Police Department, and you're certainly a friend of mine. You do an excellent job on something that's very non-traditional, what we consider non-traditional law enforcement, and you've really excelled at it. And actually, you're making our neighborhoods better, our businesses safer, and we honestly appreciate everything that you've done in the last 38 years as an officer here, and certainly the last 18 years as a code enforcement officer. And you kind of formed that division, and we really appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Well, Chief, you know this story as when you were a captain, another captain wanted to reassign Officer Schlottig back to the uniform division. And I said, what? That captain's no longer with us. And and that was before you were chief. And I had recognized Gary's contribution to code enforcement as a councilman forever. And so after 3 decades of, or at least a couple of decades of having Gary doing the code enforcement, knowing that when we had a really troubled situation, you need somebody in uniform. And Gary he sometimes uses a modified uniform, which is a T-shirt with a badge on it, but still that badge means so much more than a code enforcement officer that's not a code enforcement person that's not an officer, a police officer. And he's able to elicit compliance much more effectively than someone that's not a uniformed officer. But he knows how to do it without undue force, with patience. And I don't want you to get too big of a head, Gary, but you just have a knack for this job. Our code enforcement, even before we had the upgraded code enforcement policies, was very, very good because of people like Gary Schlottig. Code enforcement has become our second most important priority after law enforcement. And the City Council and the administration worked very hard on upgrading our code enforcement agenda. That is being challenged not only in court but also in the legislature. And it's puzzling to us why it's being challenged by the real estate industry, because of people like Gary and other code enforcement people and the code enforcement programs that we put in place. All the real estate boats rise. And you know, you want to buy low, sell high. You don't want to buy low and stay low. So I don't know why the real estate agency, the real estate industry is challenging us on this, because it's working. I'm going to let Ms. Pagano, our council president, who is very involved in our code enforcement agenda, to say a few words about that and your friendship with Gary.
We won't go into the whole friendship with Gary. I've had the pleasure of being a friend of Gary's. We're going on probably around 35 years right now. So he's the one that every council person wants in their ward. And if you have a problem, he's the one to call. If you need to have a code explained, he's the one you want to call. So I am so happy for you, and a big pat on the back, my friend. So congratulations. Who wants to present? There you go. Yeah, did you want to say anything, Gary?
No, thank you.
Are you sure?
Good, thank you.
We're still on. The next item on the agenda is hearing from citizens. This is a time to speak to the council on any issue not necessarily on the agenda this evening for 3 minutes. Please remember, this is not a question and answer time, but we would be happy to discuss any issue with you after the meeting. So first would be Don Adams. Good evening.
Good evening.
You may have to readjust that mic so
No,
we can
it's
hear you.
fine. It's fine. Don Adams, 240 Francisca, Florissant, 44 years out here. As I look at the council sitting up here, I tend to believe that most of you guys have lived out here for a number of years. Okay? Don't nod your head. That's communicating. We can't do that. When we moved out here, the city was nice. I moved out here with my wife and my children because it was a nice community. It was a safe community. It is becoming a community where the ordinances are getting overlooked, or they need to be changed. I mean, when I was younger, I had a lot more hair. I don't have as much hair now. I got a bigger stomach, though. You can get a ticket for having your grass at 8 inches. I brought this up before and nothing's been done about it. I think it needs to be lowered down to 6 inches. You get a ticket at 8 inches, they come out, they look at 8-inch ticket, okay, you got a week to cut it. Okay, now they're gonna come back. Oh, you haven't cut it, now we're gonna go on the list. Well, now it might be 9 or 10 inches tall, depending on the weather. Okay, so it's 2 weeks to cut the grass. Now you have an instance where people break the windows out of their house, tear the storm doors off their house, leave their trash on their carport. Oh, we're gonna come out and give you a ticket. You got 30 days to correct it, though. Okay, we're gonna come back out in another 30 days. Oh, it's not corrected, now we're gonna give you a summons. Oh, okay, now we're gonna bring you to court, if you decide to come to court. If you come to court and the judge feels fit, he'll give you an extension on getting it fixed or repaired. Something's out of whack with this policy. These things need to be revisited, because when we all moved out here, we didn't have to deal with these issues. This was a nice, clean community. People kept lids on their trash cans. They kept them behind their property. They kept their trash picked up, their lawns cut. But when you get 2 weeks to cut your grass and 3 months or better to repair your house, something's wrong with this whole policy. We need to revisit this issue and get it looked at. And we also need to try to get this grass issue lowered down to a little bit less of a height. 6 inches, I think, is a better height, although I'm not happy with 6, but I would be satisfied with 6 inches. So that's what I got to say right now. More to come later.
All right, thank you. The next item on the agenda is communications, of which there are none. And we'll move on to public hearings. We have public hearing number 1804014.
The public hearing will be held by the Florissant City Council in the council chambers at 955 Rue St. Francois, Florissant, Missouri, on Monday, April 9, 2018, at 7:30 p.m. on the following proposition: to rezone for Quattro Florissant LLC, DBA Aspen Dental Mod Pizza for the property located at 3125 North Highway 67 from B3 Extensive Commercial District to B5 Planned Commercial District to allow for the construction of a new tenant building. Citizens will have an opportunity to be heard. Anyone with special needs should contact the city clerk at least 5 days before said public hearing by calling 839-7630 or TDD 839-5142.
Thank you. Is the petitioner present? Hi. Good evening. Do you have something to show?
I do, yeah.
Okay, you want to,
I got it.
there, it's on, so you can go ahead and lay it.
It's
on
green,
top.
but it's on.
Good evening. My name is Brett Dahlman. I'm the Director of Construction and Development for Quattro Development, doing business as Quattro Florissant LLC for this project. As you mentioned, I'm here to present our proposed development at 3125 North Highway 67 and the rezoning from a B3 to a B5. Scope of the project, I'll kind of go through the site portion first and then the building portion after that, and then answer any questions that you might have. We will be redeveloping the existing gas station site. The building, canopy, paving will all be removed, and we're proposing to construct a new two-tenant building, approximately 6,400 square feet, housing two tenants, one an Aspen Dental and the second a Mod Pizza. As part of that, we will be reusing the existing entrance from Lindbergh and shifting the entrance on Newhall's Ferry a little further north, closing off that driveway, putting sidewalk back in that portion where the driveway was. We're proposing 49 parking stalls for the development. 47 is required by code. We're slightly more than that. We do have a fully screened dumpster enclosure block to match the building, which I'll get to in a minute. Metal doors. Landscaping wise, we'll be fully re-landscaping the site. Shrubs, shrubs and perennials and that around the building itself. Along both frontages on Lindbergh and Newhall's Ferry, we will be meeting the requirements of the Lincor Enhancement Project, putting up, I think we need 7 honey locust trees and a number of burning bushes along the front, as well as a little more landscaping directly off the back of curb to kind of spruce up the look of the site. Another topic of discussion or point would be the site lighting for the project. We are proposing new light poles throughout the project or throughout the site, meeting minimum levels as required by the city, and making sure that as the light levels reach the property line, they're essentially zero, so there will be no overflow of lighting onto the adjacent properties. With the building itself, I mentioned it is a two-tenant building. The western half of it will be an Aspen Dental. The eastern half will be the Mod Pizza. There is a relatively small outdoor seating area adjacent to the Mod Pizza that will be have railing around it, bollards as required by city code. The makeup of the building itself, we try as much as we can, and we're a nationwide developer. We typically deal with nationwide tenants, and we always run that fine balancing act between what the tenants want and what we're allowed to do with the city. So we're fully aware of the masonry ordinance that's in place with the rezoning to a B5, and we're essentially meeting that. I'll focus on the Aspen Dental portion first. There is a natural stone at the base up to 3 feet. From there, it's brick up through above the storefront awning area. Then above that, we've got some ephes in the sign band area. So essentially, we're meeting the masonry ordinance with a little bit of ephes that we have above that. With the mod pizza, it is strictly 100% brick the whole way through. The sign band, the front and side sign band area is actually a cement panel board finish, which is a trademark of mod pizza. That again, we're asking for relief on that from the full masonry ordinance. One other item that I would like to bring up as we work through the Planning and Zoning Commission, signage was a big point of discussion. We originally had hoped to, excuse me here, I've got a lot of papers in front of me. We've got the building signage that I showed on the elevations there. Our original hope was to place a pole sign at the intersection of Lindbergh and Newhall's Ferry. There is a relatively small one there now for the gas station. Per code, you're not allowed to have a monument or pole sign for that matter within the 40-foot building setback, which our site's a little bit different being a corner lot. We've got two 40-foot setbacks that we have to worry about, and it essentially, if we're putting a pole sign in, we're putting it right next to the building if we meet code, which obviously doesn't make a lot of sense. My basis for showing it there and discussing it with the Planning and Zoning Commission was it's a location of an existing sign. We're putting in a new sign. It would meet, the sign itself would meet area requirements of the city. I think that's 25 feet tall. I think we're proposing 100 square feet of sign area for that. Again, Planning and Zoning didn't necessarily like that. There's one or two members on the commission that were not big fans of the signage at all. Our thought being it's the main commercial corridor in Florissant, and obviously despite the fact that we've got a corner lot, we would like to have a sign. So I don't know what the rules are for revisiting that tonight, but I kind of wanted to bring that to your attention and maybe get your thoughts on that. So I think that's a broad brush overview of, sorry, real quick, there's the sign that we were proposing to be placed. So that's a broad brush overview of the project. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Mr. Caputa?
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, welcome. Question, do you build nationwide for Aspen Dental Mod Pizza? Is this a chain of Mod Pizza? Is this something new that?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The Mod Pizza, this will be our second project that we do with Mod. We did one out in the Portland, Oregon area. I believe they're out of the Seattle, Washington area, their headquarters. Aspen Dental is a long-term client of ours. We've done quite a few throughout the country, including I think two or maybe one or two in the St. Louis market. We did one in Bridgeton, and I believe there might have been one in Arnold before my time at Quattro. But above and beyond that, we've done a number throughout the country.
Do you have your own contractor that you use for these buildings, or do you hire local contractors?
We always look to hire a local contractor first. It's kind of a policy of ours. We like to hire local people. They have more, not that the others wouldn't, but more pride, I guess, in doing a project in their area. So when we develop a project in an area of the country, we always look and solicit bids from local contractors.
I know here up in North County, this is a very labor-friendly area of the St. Louis metropolitan area, well, basically all of St. Louis.
Exactly.
So we always, myself, always encourage people to try to use local and contractors that are signatory to the St. Louis Building Trades. I mean, we love to encourage people to do that. I think it's great for business for you to show people that you are, using local contractors. I think it's good for business.
Totally.
And it makes the company look like you're dedicated to the community.
Exactly. And you couldn't be more right with that. Again, we always look to hire local general contractors and in turn have them, hire local subcontractors. One of the owners of our company is a St. Louis native, despite the fact he lives in Chicago now. He's still a Cardinals fan, still calls St. Louis his home. We don't give him too much,
He gets points for
you know, about being a Cardinals fan from
Well,
Chicago.
if he's from Chicago, he'll know too. You know, up there too with the big
Yeah.
labor.
So he's
support.
he likes to come back home and develop projects back in the St. Louis area. Again, I think this is probably our 4th or 5th project that we've done in the area, and always look to do more. So again, we've got a relationship with a number of different general contractors from the St. Louis market. Guaranteed 100% they'll be bidding on this project, and I can tell you right now, one of them will do the job for us.
And a question about the pizza, is that regular lunch and late dinner, 11 to 10, 11 to 11?
Yeah, they're definitely open for lunch and dinner. I don't know their exact hours. I'm assuming it's 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning through 10 o'clock at night. They're one of the super fast, I call it a Subway of the pizza
Subway.
world, where you go and decide what toppings you want on it. They throw as much as you want on it. The pizzas are cooked in a high temperature oven, and they're back to you in 3 to 5 minutes. So, and Aspen Dental, obviously, I think everybody's probably familiar with them.
No alcohol, correct?
No, I don't believe they have alcohol. Yeah, I can't say 100%, but I don't believe they do.
All right. Thank you.
Right. Mr. Siam?
Thank you, Madam President. So just to be sure, you're going to be managing the property on a continuous basis? You're not just going to build it and then leave, right? I mean, you're going to be responsible for making sure the property is clean and the dumpsters, enclosures, doors are closed and everything like that?
We are not a long-term management company, but we do keep the projects for a period of time in the beginning. I can't say 100% how long we will own the property, but we definitely be involved in it.
So would you, like in the long run, I guess you'd sell it off to Mod Pizza and Aspen Dental, or?
Typically, there'll be another owner that would come in and purchase the property. If there's, you and I had a conversation before leading up to this about the dumpster issue, and that's definitely something that we would enforce. Make sure the tenants, keeping in mind these are two, again, nationwide tenants that want their properties to look nice, and they're going to do everything they can to make that happen with our backing behind it.
Now, is the Aspen Dental actually going to be a little bit larger than the Mod Pizza, or are they going to be about the same size? Because the picture you had made it look like the Aspen Dental would be a little bit bigger, actually.
Yeah, the Aspen is, I said, the overall building area is approximately 6,400 square feet. The Aspen Dental is about 3,500 square feet of that, so the Mod is about 28.
Okay. And is the pizza place, is it going to have a drive-through, or?
They do not have a drive-through.
It won't have a drive-through.
Just the outdoor seating area.
Okay, and just one more thing. Regarding the sign, if we did ask you to push it back, how far back, would sound good to you? Where is a good place to put it, like if it has to be closer to the building?
Let me bring up my site plan again.
Because you wanted it right on the corner, right?
Yeah, I'm going to draw on here so you can see it, but roughly right there and right here is the 40-foot setback that we can't have it within. If we were to push it completely inside of that 40-foot setback, it would have to go in one of the landscape islands that we have, or create an island back here, place a sign there. Again, our preference, as I would assume most developers and property owners would like to have a sign up along the roadway so people can see it.
Can you point out where the current sign is right now, just for the perspective?
Approximately in that area.
Right, okay.
And we would be looking to put it in the same area. We couldn't do a monument sign, ground level monument sign, because of the site seeing or angle, and with the multiple or the two intersecting streets. So we would go with a pole sign that would be 25 feet high, is allowed by code.
Okay. And if you did put it behind those setbacks, you're saying it would take up parking spaces, or it would interfere with the landscaping, or it would cause other problems like
These
that?
areas right here in front of the building and the landscape islands that we have proposed, they're right next to the building. The building is 24 feet tall, the sign would be 25 feet tall. It kind of defeats the purpose of it.
Okay.
If we were to put it back here, two things with that, we would be losing a parking stall. Even though we meet code with 47, or at 49, 47 being required, the tenants want as much parking as they can get. So we'd rather
Okay.
not lose a stall or two.
Maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you do put it by the building, by that corner of the building, it could be up to 40. It doesn't have to be limited to 25, I don't think. So would that be helpful if, you know,
It was my understanding that 25 feet is the maximum height.
really? Am I incorrect about that? I don't know. I thought it could be 40, but I could be wrong.
If we could go higher than the building itself, that might do something for us. Again, I thought 25 with the 40-foot setback was the requirement, but I may be wrong.
Okay. It is 25? Okay, I'm sorry. All right.
And putting it back here, that would give us plenty of visibility from Newhall's Ferry. It would be blocked by the building on Lindbergh. Again, it's not an ideal location.
Okay.
You know, an alternate location for the intersection
Oh,
would be,
sir,
sorry.
could you just either take the microphone out? If you go over there, we're not catching you.
An alternate location
There
to
you
putting
go.
it at the intersection would be putting it to the east of the driveway off Lindbergh. Again, that would require it to be within that 40-foot setback, but if that's a better location for the city, you know, we would be open to that as well.
Okay. Okay, well, and the last thing I have is that, you know, I would encourage you, like we were talking with Mr. Gerald over there, to just kind of build that, you know, start the cross-access to the Kmart parking lot, and if you can get them at a future date to, like, you know, build a path through the greenery there, you know, then I think it'd be great to have that, you know, so I would encourage you to do that if you can.
That's one thing I glossed over when I was discussing the site. We have a cross-access point back in the back of the property next to the dumpster with the hopes that we can work it out in agreement with Kmart to provide cross-access between our development and theirs. Don't have that agreement finalized, but we will construct it that way, barricade it if we need to, in the hopes that eventually down the road we can work something out with them.
Okay, that sounds good. I'd be open to recommendations from all of you about the sign and like what to do with the sign and that sort of thing. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Parson?
Madam President, actually, Tommy had gone over the questions in regards to the sign, and it sounds like he explained that pretty much thoroughly, so I have no further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Jones?
Yes, we ask this of all businesses about the trash cans, not your dumpsters, but your trash cans, to have some at the entrance and exits. So when we got people coming or going, that they're putting stuff, there's a big protruding trash can there for them to see to put the trash in, because we get it over our parking lots, over our streets and everything. It's a big problem that we have here. So I hope you could pass word to both of these businesses that, I don't want to say we require it, but we are requesting it. And we will be keeping our eye on them to make sure the parking lot is kept up clean for this reason. Thanks.
Mr. Reagan?
Thank you. I wasn't able to get by there this week, and I was predisposed. As I understand, there's a current sign there being utilized by the tenant, correct?
Correct, yep.
And that is basically the same size sign you're proposing?
It's not the same size. It's not 25 feet tall like we're proposing. I'm guessing it's probably 5, 6, 7 feet tall.
Okay. You know, I really don't have a big issue with the sign being there, just personally, that's just my thoughts. And as far as the alcohol, I know that there are some mod pizzas that do serve alcohol, which again, I don't have an issue with either which way, as long as they stay within the state and city restrictions. I don't know if yours is going to be alcohol-free or not, but I do know that there's some that do have alcohol. That's all I have.
Seeing no further, before we close this public hearing, is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this? Oh, sir, we have somebody who wants to ask a question. Good evening.
Yeah, my name's Kevin O'Donnell, 512 Rancho Lane, Florissant, Missouri, 63031, Ward 4. I said I wasn't coming up here anymore, but here I am. From what I can hear so far, from what I understand, this gentleman here is speaking about the property, about building the buildings. Where are the tenants? Because we asked, I heard questions asked about what were the hours. Were they going to be different hours till 11 and 11 or whatever? We don't know that. We don't know if they want a liquor license. We don't know about the signs. And as I mentioned before in the past, we've got Mattress Firm and Verizon on the opposite corner violating, from what I can see, of the sign ordinance, the monument sign being too close to the corner. And for as big as the lot is, either one, I don't see any reason that there has to be a monument sign there. I mean, it's not like it's set back, the building's set back 600 feet and they don't know where it's at. The signs on a building should be sufficient to me. That's the way I see it. Smaller sign maybe, but not any type of sign near the street, like Mattress Firm and Verizon Wireless do. And I would like to know, who are these people that are going to be moving in here so we can ask them questions? Is there going to be a second public hearing on the tenants of the dental place and the pizza place? Are we going to have, are they going to come before the council with a public hearing with, the seating arrangements and everything and how everything is, the food they're going to serve and whatever? I mean, I don't know. It's just something I'd like to know as a resident of Florissant for, let's see, 62 years. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further comments, Councilman Cyan moves to close this public hearing, seconded by Mr. Hanky. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. This public hearing is now closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. The next item on the agenda is old business. The first item, old business, the second readings. We have bill number 9373. Councilman Cyan moves for a second reading, seconded by Mr. Parson. Discussion? And that would be me, because I was looking at this before, and I know during the public hearing we had discussed the tire situation, whether they'd be outside. They had said no. I was wondering if we could amend this to make sure that there are no racks of tires outside anytime during the day, or even tires outside at all, as far as them there and them trying to sell. I know I drove by there today, and I saw a sign for new and used tires, and all I could picture were racks outside. And I know they said they weren't, that they were going to keep them all downstairs, but I would like to put this into the bill. I don't know if I'll get a second on it, but I would like to put it in the bill that no tires, whether on racks or loose or how they're going to sell them, are outside at any time in that. Thank you. Seconded by Mr. Henke. But did you have something to go with that, Mr. Siam?
Yes, I was actually going to ask if that could be made to apply to all tire places, because I do have a couple of places in my ward where they leave tires out all the time. And
We
you
would,
know.
we would have to change theirs. I'm just saying, now that this came up, I saw it in the discussion at the public hearing, that they would not have tires outside, and so I want to make that
I would support that too.
clear. Thank you. So I have a second on the floor from, did you have something to say, Mr. Jones? Did you? Okay, go ahead.
I think we went over this the last time as far as not changing the tires neither. We're not pulling jacks out in the parking lot, and everything has to be done inside the garage.
Right, I don't
Much
know
less the tires
exactly.
being stored, but we don't want them outside with jacks in the parking lot jacking up vehicles.
Right, so how, Mr. Hessel, how would we word that?
Well, I was just working on
I
that.
thought so.
Why don't we, it would be an amendment to section 1 by adding an additional stipulation, providing that no auto tire repair work nor tires shall be allowed outside. Does that work for you?
Yeah, does that mean on racks too?
Just all, yeah.
Just
Yes.
all in general?
Correct.
Okay, all right, perfect. Well, I have a second by Mr. Hanky. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. So now I'm going,
Okay. Now,
we're on
this is all in favor for the second.
Second
so now I
reading.
need to read it for the second time, as amended.
as amended. Yes, ma'am.
Ordinance to authorize a special use permit to tire zone, wait, did you say all in favor on that one? I don't think you did.
I did say all in favor, didn't I? On the amended. Let's go back to the second reading, amended. Okay, I make a motion, Mr. Hanky will second it. All in favor? Aye.
There you go.
Okay.
Ordinance to authorize a special use permit to Tire Zone LLC for the operation of a tire installation and tire repair shop for the property located at 1940 North Highway 67.
Councilman Cyan moves for a third reading, seconded by myself. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Ordinance to authorize a special use permit to Tire Zone LLC for the operation of a tire installation and tire repair shop for the property located at 1940 North Highway 67.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this? Hearing none. Clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Pagano?
Yes.
Parson? Yes. Cyan? Lee? Yes. Jones? Yes. Egan? Yes. Caputa? Yes. Shildroth? Yes. Hanky? Yes.
Bill number 9373 passes and becomes ordinance number 8404. We have bill number 937. Pardon?
Go ahead. No.
Bill number 9374. Councilman Parson moves for a second reading, seconded by Mr. Shildroth. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Ordinance to authorize a transfer of special use permit number 7940 from Toast Time Lounge LLC to Toasted Up LLC, DBA Toast Time Sports Bar for the operation of a cocktail lounge located at 12781 New Halls Ferry Road.
Councilman Parson moves for a third reading, seconded by Mr. Lee. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Ordinance to authorize a transfer of special use permit number 7940 from Toast Time Lounge LLC to Toasted Up LLC, DBA Toast Time Sports Bar for the operation of a cocktail lounge located at 12781 New Halls Ferry Road.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this? Hearing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote. Bless you.
Pagano?
Yes.
Parson? Yes. Cyan? Lee? Yes. Jones? Yes. Egan? Yes. Caputa? Yes. Shildroth? Yes. Hanky? Yes.
Bill number 9374 passes and becomes ordinance number 8405. The next item on the agenda is new business. The first item under new business is board appointments. Mr. Shildroth?
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to reappoint John Luttrell, 155 Brackley, to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Seconded by Mr. Egan. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The appointment is made.
Thank you.
Mr. Caputa?
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, I would like to reappoint Monica Weidman to the Parks and Recreational Board.
Seconded by Mr. Jones. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? The appointment is made.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, I'd like to reappoint Steve Olds to Planning and Zoning.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Egan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Okay. We will move on to request. Councilman Parson moves to accept the application for a request for a transfer of a special use permit number 8376 from 5 Aces Barbecue to CA44 LLC, doing business as Highway 67 Barbecue, for the operation of a restaurant located at 1754 New Florissant Road. Seconded by Mr. Hanky. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. Move on to first readings. Bill number 9379.
Ordinance amending ordinance number 8059, which establishes the wage range and job classification for all full-time employees by establishing a separate pay plan for unclassified employees and containing an effective date clause.
Councilman Lee moves for a second reading, seconded by Mr. Egan. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Ordinance amending ordinance number 8059, which establishes wage range and job classifications for all full-time employees by establishing a separate pay plan for unclassified employees and containing an effective date clause.
Councilman Lee moves for a third reading, seconded by Mr. Caputa. Roll call, please.
Pagano?
Yes.
Parson? Yes. Siam? Lee? Jones? Yes. Egan? Yes. Caputa? Yes. Shildroth? Yes. Hanky? Yes. Ordinance amending ordinance number 8059, which established a wage range and job classification for all full-time employees by establishing a separate pay plan for unclassified employees and containing an effective date clause.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? Hearing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Pagano?
Yes.
Parson? Yes. Siam? Yes. Lee? Yes. Jones?
Yes.
Egan? Yes. Caputa? Yes. Shildroth? Yes. Hanky? Yes.
Bill number 9379 passes and becomes ordinance number 8407. Bill number 9380.
Ordinance 06. It's actually 06.
I have it as 07. Oh.
You meant 4, 5, 6.
Oh, I know what I said. Sorry.
It's okay. Ordinance authorizing a transfer special use permit number 8376 from 5 Aces Barbecue to CA44 LLC, DBA Highway 67 Barbecue, for the operation of a restaurant located at 1752 or 1754 North New Florissant Road.
The next item on the agenda is council announcements. Mr. Jones?
I'd like to give a shout out to Team Down the Street. It's our food pantry. Everybody please keep that in mind. Shout out to Andrew out there in the audience. Tim's warming up his seat for him. Look forward to working with you and trying to help you as best we can. And I think that goes for everybody up here. They welcome me, so I'm sure they'll welcome you the same way. I'd like to say something about Shackelford. I spoke to one of the engineers running the job the other day. They got a few more spots to mill on Shackelford, and then they're going to put the overlay of asphalt, and that should be coming up within the next couple of weeks. They are going to fix the bumps on Lindsay Lane that butts up to it. There's like 5 or 6 spots that we went and looked at. Very nice gentlemen. They still have work to do on the other side of Shackelford, which is in Ward 1. There's going to be a holding pond in a park-like setting where the house was that they ran their engineering out of while that construction was going on for that project. The house is now gone. They will start on that here shortly. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Egan?
Thank you. If I could add to that, Mr. Jones, the concrete work that they are doing up there, I've been running along Shackelford, is really going to be aesthetic when they get it done. I know it's taking forever and it's a traffic nightmare, but when they do get it done, it's going to be really aesthetic, and I think it's going to be a good for the city. October 20th, 1918, or 2018, will be the Race to the Shrine this year. It'll be our 6th year. They currently have they'll have a Couch to 5K getting ready to fire up here within the next month. You can go to racetotheshrine.com and find out how you can go from the Couch to the K to 5K in just a few months. Got some great news today. We've talked a lot about Cooper Tracy the last couple meetings. We held our St. Ferdinand barbecue for him. He had a major surgery today. He's 3 years old and has lots of cancer issues. They got 90% of the tumors, what we've been told. So very, very, very fabulous news. I keep asking you to pray for the Tracy family, and we know Cooper's grandmother is very dear to our hearts here in the city of Florissant. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. It was a very good day for the Tracy family, and let's keep hoping that it continues to go in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Caputa?
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, like I say every council meeting, if you own a firearm, make sure you keep them secured, locked up. Don't keep them in your vehicles where they can get stolen. Same with keeping your vehicles. Make sure you keep them locked up. Had a couple incidents over last week where vehicles were unlocked. Cars were ransacked, change were stolen out of it. None of the cars that were locked was happening. It was just the cars that were unlocked. So make sure you keep your cars locked up so they don't go in there and steal any change or anything you got in your vehicles. April 12th, Ward 4 Neighborhood Watch. We have an Adopt a Street on Humes and around by Patterson Road. We will be doing a cleanup April 12th at arrive 9:45 to 10 a.m. and we'll meet at Walker's School. That is this Saturday, April 12th, between 9:45 and 10 a.m. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Hanky?
Yeah, good evening. Just a reminder again, we're just a few weeks out from the Valley of Flowers, so let's clean up, fix up, plant, cut the grass, plant some flowers, do whatever we need to do. The way I look at it, we get people from all over the St. Louis area come to our community for this event. If you were having a party at your house, you would clean your house, you'd take care of things, wherever. Let's do that for our city, for all the guests we're going to have here in a few weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd just like to reflect that as it is with MSD, where Florissant and them have worked for mutual progress, so it has been also with St. Louis County Highway. And going back to your father, Madam President, the late Don Bond, he was a Florissant councilman and he was a county council member. And I think that's set the stage for a good relationship between Florissant and St. Louis County Highway, in that we've gotten our share of improvements from the highway. It's not been a perfect relationship, but I think the Howdershell-Shackelford project is a good indication of the kind of progress we can make together. We, not that long ago, we had Mayor Lowry and I lobbying with then County Executive Dooley for that project, including the right turn lane on Charbonnier and all the rest. And I'm just so happy that we're nearing completion, because that's been a very inconvenience. But going forward, it's going to be a heck of an amenity for those traveling in and through our city. I also would like to give my personal congratulations to Mr. Andrew Harris, our new council member, council representative for Ward 1. Best of luck to you, and looking forward to working with you for the progress of your ward in the city. We had a very successful electronic recycling event last weekend, and then on April 21st we'll have the document shredding, which will, we always try to schedule it right after the April 15th tax deadline. That seems to be the time when people have all those extra documents. They're sensitive, so if you want to get rid of all your checkbook stuff and all that stuff that you don't want to throw in the trash so your identity doesn't get compromised, shred it and don't worry about it. We opened up another business on Lindbergh in Ward 3 with Crazy Bowls and Wraps. We had a ribbon cutting last week, well attended, and we're looking forward to that healthy alternative for dining in here in Florissant. And we're going to have a senior resource fair tomorrow April 10th at Egan Center. That's going to be from 9 to 12, and it's sponsored by the City of Florissant, Memory Care Solutions, St. Catherine Retirement Center, the Pillars of North County, and Mercy Home Health and Hospice Services. So that's going to be tomorrow. Arbor Day celebration is moved this year. We usually do it up by the Jet, up by the Egan Center, but this year we're going to plant some trees at Dunnigan Park on Thursday, April 12th at 10 a.m. And so please join us, along with 46 students from Common Lanes Elementary School will also be in attendance. So I'll expect that hopefully Councilmember Parson will join us for that. He's very popular at that school, I believe. Also, food truck nights are back Friday, April 20th at 5 o'clock at the Knights grounds. So bring some canned goods for a team or a donation to team and get something good to eat there. That's a very popular event. I believe we'll have 4 of them this year, and looking forward to seeing you there. Thanks.
Thank you. The next regular meeting for the City Council will be on Monday, April 23rd, 2018. Councilman Lee moves to adjourn, second by Mr. Egan. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Thank you all for attending.